As promised, we're going to talk about Norwood 3 hairline. We're going to talk about that transition from Norwood 2 to Norwood 3, which for me, I'm age 36, that transition happened somewhere around 29. I didn't notice it until I was 30, and it became obvious to me, I'd say by age 31. I've got some pictures hanging up in my house, family portraits, and I was 31 in those pictures, and my hair was a little bit shorter than it is now, and not fixed in a way that downplayed the fact that it was 3, and that was when it was obvious to me. So like age 31, it became obvious I was Norwood 3, and since then I've made purposeful efforts to make sure that with this Norwood 3 that I manage it properly so that I can downplay. And that's what's cool about being a Norwood 3, is that as long as you manage it the right way and you accept that as your identity, you can actually manage your hairstyles in a way that most people are never going to know that you're Norwood 3. You know, on this channel, people are very eager to point out that I'm Norwood 3. But to the rest of the world who sees us all, not just you, but also me, they see us through almost like a stained glass. It's a very blurry lens that they see us through. And so they're not seeing the details that you and I are seeing because we're so hyper-focused on hair loss. But for most people with Norwood 3, especially if you don't have much thinning, I've got some minor thinning, but if you don't have a whole lot of thinning, you can actually go a long way with the Norwood 3. So many male actors in their 30s and 40s have Norwood 3, but you don't think about it. It's because as long as their hair is long enough and they have it pushed to the side, then it's going to cover up those rounded off edges there. Because when you have Norwood 2, you've got those 90-degree angles, you've got a V-shape. And then when you transition to Norwood 3, now you've got more of the letter M shape, or the number 3, however you want to look at that. But it's going to be rounded off here. It's going to be rounded up here, and then this is going to kind of be rounded as well. So that's the Norwood 3. So where technically you're bald kind of right here a little bit, but it's just a matter of having the right hairstyle. With the Norwood 3, what you don't want to do is comb your hair back, and you definitely don't want to comb it forward. The video I made a couple of years ago now that really made me become the hair loss YouTuber that I am was one that I did talking about ways to downplay a receding hairline. And at the time, I didn't even know what the Norwood system was. Honestly, I didn't even know until maybe half a year ago and started understanding how it works. But yeah, I'm Norwood 3, and life isn't bad. You know, if I could stay Norwood 3 the rest of my life, then you know, I wouldn't be seen as balding to most at all. Because most people now, please know, if you live my normal life, if you knew me outside this camera, people laugh at me when I explain that I make money from YouTube by talking about hair loss, because they look at me and they see a guy with a full head of hair. See, that's what's cool. Norwood 3, most people, as long as you manage your hair right, you're going to be seen as a guy with a full head of hair. Just again, don't comb your hair down, don't comb it up. Notice the angle here. Notice the angle that I've got going on there. That way, it is going to still have that volume there, but it's going to make things vague enough right here where the balding spots are. And it looks fine. It's funny because especially from the side, you almost wouldn't even notice that at all. So if you're transitioning into Norwood 3, sure, technically that's going past maturing hairline and more into balding territory. It's just a matter of how long you keep it there. Norwood 4 is where it's a whole different ball game, where some, like perhaps I will do, maybe just go ahead and start buzzing it up at that point. But right now, to do so for the sake of hair loss would be, as one has said already, it'd be like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So if you have any questions about Norwood 3 or Norwood 2, I feel like I know a lot because that's been the last decade or so for me making those transitions. I'm Nick Shell, and I talk way too much about one thing and one thing only, and that is hair loss, because that's what people find value in me, hair loss.